Hello and welcome to Pretty Funny Business. I'm Sydney Mulligan.
I am Lauren Aquilino. And today we have Connor Jeffers from Aptitude 8. Y'all are a HubSpot consultancy, correct? At the baseline? Awesome.
At the baseline.
Connor, very excited to have you with us. Connor has some very spicy takes about HubSpot and other platforms that I'm thrilled for us to get into. So why don't we just jump right into it? We'll let you lead with the business and then we'll go pretty funny and we'll just let it devolve into chaos from there.
Sure. I actually did legitimately start marketing operations. Some of these are like, oh, how'd you get into this thing? I was at a ed tech startup and built the world's biggest spam engine machine with Salesforce and HubSpot. And in some ways was an influence to like the original canned spam laws because it was a Canadian, and I'm not even joking. I was just talking to like this PE dude who's doing an acquisition in Canada, and he was like, yeah, like they have all these crazy canned spam laws, and he's like, it's bananas. And I was like, I actually know a lot about that. Like, because we were involved when that happened. But we basically just built like the world's largest outbound email engine on like OG Salesforce and OG HubSpot like 10 plus years ago. And then we ended up moving to Marketo.
Okay, wait.
Then.
I want to know more about Spamfluencer. I want to know more about how you were spamming people because I have this as a piece of my history also that I'd be
amazing. Yeah. I'll give you the short answer is the original product was, you remember clickers in college? You'd like have a hit the button. Yeah. So their whole thing was like, what if that was an app? And that was the whole business originally. And so we sold to colleges and universities. Selling top down to those institutions is extremely, extremely hard. And so what we found out is that we would sell it like textbooks. So we'd sell directly to the professor, and the professor could just add that you needed like a subscription to our app onto their like whatever course syllabus. And so that was the whole thing. So we sold to professors. And so we had a sales team that would sell to professors, and I led all of our marketing operations stuff. And the CEO had a mechatronics background. And so he was like a robotics engineer. And so he thought sales and marketing was just like really dumb and pointless. And he was like, why don't we just like the funnel math is, and I was 20, I dropped out of school to join this company. So I was like 21. And so like the main marketing leader left, the whole marketing department fell apart, and he was like, you're in charge now. And so his whole thing was basically the funnel is the number we send these emails, and then based on the number of emails that we send, then we book this many meetings, and this many meetings turns into this many deals, which then goes to this much revenue. So the lever is send more emails, like C-level on down. That's the strategy. And so we built this like enormous personalization engine machine to just like outbound everybody at every institution and every university in North America.
How did you get the contacts?
We scraped them because they're all publicly available. Yes, so we built like little robo. Yeah, because it was universal. This is like because it's not business contacts, right? But like the directory lists of every professor are on every school website. So we just scraped all of those, ingested all of them, and then we're like, hi, like Professor Mulligan, you're a professor of history, and like history is super cool, and here are all these reasons why. And we wanted to reach out to you about this class. And because they were professors, and because this was 10 years ago, they were like, someone is like emailing me. Like it's like my grandma, she gets the Netflix emails and she thinks like they're like someone's recommending stuff for her. Like someone works at Netflix whose job is to do that.
So nice of Netflix to tell me I would.
She believes this. She told me this on the phone, and I was like, oh my God, Nana. It's like, that's so adorable that you think that's true. So anyway, we spammed everybody. And then we get cease and desists from all these universities. So like Harvard sent us a cease and desist, like all these things. And then I would bring them to the CEO and be like, hey, they gave us the cease and desist. And he's like, they can unsubscribe. Like, let it rip. So
well, the problem is that's entirely true in America, you know.
It's good. Yeah. So we did that a lot. We spammed everybody, and we generated a lot of deals and a lot of bookings and a lot of revenue from a lot of college universities, and had a lot of pissed off professors that.
Okay, so I had a pretty similar experience also working with a weird industry. It was financial services, and it was also publicly available information of financial advisors. So like their information was sometimes publicly available through the SEC, but also sometimes not. And we would just make an Excel formula of what we thought everyone at Wells Fargo's email address format probably was, and do it a few different ways, and then load them up in, send it out. The ones that bounced, we deleted, and then that was that. And that's how we built our email list. It was like 2 million people. But it was like CE credit courses that we had sponsors that were paying us to put the courses on. So they were like, no one's really that mad about getting it because it was like a free CE credit for them. But one thing that we did that I thought was really shady, first of all, we switched to Marketo because it was cheaper than Exact Target, because Exact Target charges Exact Target doesn't even exist
per
anymore,
email.
At the time, they charged by the email send, and we were sending to the entire database 3 times a day. And Marketo charges by the database size, and the database was relatively static. It didn't grow that much. Yeah. So it was like a no-brainer. Sure, we'll switch to Marketo. So we switched to Marketo. What was I saying about that? We switched to Marketo because it was cheaper, and then we were uploading all the fake email addresses, and yeah, that was pretty much it. It was a good time. And we also resold the information. That was probably the shadiest thing we did. We sold a subscription to the database for anyone else that wanted to market to these people.
Influencer award.
It wasn't
for sure.
It wasn't great. Oh, after I left, this is what it was. Oh, I remember what I was going to tell you. Okay, so when we were implementing Marketo, right? I get my Marketo Pro Serve consultant, and my boss was like, because we're sending these as sponsored emails, when they unsubscribe, really, I think they're unsubscribing from the sponsor's communication through us.
Solid reasoning.
Yeah, not from us. This looks like it's coming from the sponsor. So we should have separate unsubscribe fields for every sponsor and have that be the only thing they can unsubscribe from when they get the. So that is what my Marketo Pro Serve consultant showed me how to build. For better or worse, he probably should have told me to fuck off because that was illegal. But that is what we did. It was
amazing.
Yeah.
I have less of a quantity story, but I also started actually in the higher education space. And so I feel like it actually is a pretty easy space to scrape emails from. And educators, they use their work email for a lot of things.
Yeah, for everything. Yeah.
So it's they're more likely to be hey, yeah, just you got to send me something. Send me my travel documents to my work email. Everything is there. They also, I think I've shared this before, but they also use their email address to sign digital obituary guest books, which I have certainly ripped email addresses from. Stuff here about Pam's passing. Best wishes to your family.
Thank you for my new contact.
That's the worst thing I've ever done.
That's incredible.
That's pretty bad. All right. Well, Connor and I were chatting, and he had some pretty spicy takes about Marketo, which I think might be a good place to start. Connor, why don't you go ahead and tell the people what you said to me?
Marketo's the Windows 95 of business software.
Oh.
And there was a solid reason for some period of time where everybody was like, oh, Marketo's enterprisey and it's big and complicated and it looks and feels like Salesforce Classic, as they now call it. They rebranded it like Coke, but it looks and feels like Salesforce. And so this is the best thing that you can get. And in the olden days, HubSpot was we're an SMB company and we think inbound marketing is cool. And everyone's like, yeah, but I'm not trying to have a blog. I'm trying to spam people whose emails I stole from my obituary listings at scale. HubSpot's you shouldn't do that. But now,
if you're going to do it, you should use HubSpot to do it.
You should do it.
How much are you willing to pay to be able?
Yeah, exactly. And so now I think HubSpot has by far the best in class marketing automation product, and then increasingly has a sales and CRM product that competes against Salesforce. And we're seeing more and more people pick HubSpot over Salesforce, and then also migrate from Salesforce into HubSpot for that reason. But the fact that there are new Marketo customers shocks me.
Wow. That's how I feel about Eloqua, to be fair.
Eloqua have new, so that's even a whole Eloqua has new customers? I didn't even consider that was still in the mix.
Connor, we almost lost you there due to this shock. You almost went down.
Oh my God.
So
can I buy Eloqua? Right? If I can buy Eloqua right now?
You could go buy Eloqua.
No way. No way.
Absolutely. I would also like to say that in the last 10 minutes, Connor downgraded Marketo from Windows XP to Windows 95.
I think XP
is a little bit of an unfair characterization. Listen, as a long-time Marketo user,
and you're a Mac user, you're not even a PC user.
No, me? No, I'm a PC user.
You can use Windows. Like, you're also
a dinosaur, man. Okay. As a longtime Marketo user, I will be the first to say that it is not a perfect platform. There are many things that I wish they would do or do differently. What about
like strategically, right? Like you go from being a software company that's like, we have to innovate and deliver value to customers in order to survive, or else we'll get competed out of the market. And then you do that really, really well. And then you sell to, and like a PE company comes in and they're like, cool, innovation got us this far. And now we're going to cost cut. And that's what happened originally. And then that worked really, really well. And they increased the enterprise value. And then they flipped it to Adobe, and Adobe's like, amazing. Now we're just going to shove this into our suite of stuff. And so
they
come to the orange side.
It's not that they're doing nothing. Here's my thing about HubSpot. And I'll make my own spice takes about HubSpot, having not really been a HubSpot user. But my understanding of HubSpot is that it is great if you want to get moving quickly, because a lot of it is a little more prepackaged. But it is not great if you require a lot of customization.
False.
All right, tell me about it. Sell me. Yeah. Tell me why you think HubSpot's ready for enterprise. Yeah, why should I put a 3 million database into HubSpot?
Debunk our myths, because I
debunk your myths.
Sydney. Like, we all know, like, Marketo. I love Marketo, and the reason I think, like, I continue to advocate for the platform is because although it's not incredibly innovative, it is, from what I can tell, the best self-serve platform for marketers. They can do everything in that platform. And when it comes to HubSpot, man, I've been in there a couple times and I've been like, what do you mean I can't export this via the API? What do you mean I can't integrate in this way? What do you mean custom events can't do this? Or like, dang, what is going on with the date time stamping situation? Like, these are things that, like, we must have for so many of our clients.
Totally.
But I realize that there's workarounds for, but it wouldn't be marketing managing in that. Then it's like, oh, we got to wait for a CRM person or IT to like come configure some custom date time stamp field and integration, rather than just being like, oh, I just set that up in 5 minutes, which Mark had.
Let's talk about it. So I think that the important thing to know first off is like the HubSpot of yore and the HubSpot of today are radically different things. So let's talk about like HubSpot timeline, right? So HubSpot started 06.
Quick, I want to hear it. So just pause. How radically has it changed in like 12 months? Just like, out of curious. 500%,
a lot, 5x.
A lot. Okay.
Like insane. Like the pace of innovation and change in HubSpot right now is outrageous. It's outrageous.
Right,
so I'll tell you
on me
right now. So let's talk about HubSpot of yore. And I don't know when Marketo. Let's look. Marketo precedes it, right? Yeah. So Marketo. No. They're about the same time. Okay, cool. This is great. Marketo started in 2006. We're not going to talk about Marketo at all. But apparently HubSpot started like the same year, which is super interesting. And I didn't know. So from 2006 to 2014, HubSpot was like, we're going to build this marketing software company. And Marketo's like, we're going to go sell big B2B. We're going to be enterprisey. And HubSpot was like, we're going to be, SMB, and we're going to like have this super easy to use product. And we're going to basically bring marketing automation to the masses. And that was HubSpot's strategy through like 2014. In 14, they launched the original sales hub. So from 06 to 2014, HubSpot's like, we're going to be the SMB marketing automation company. And that's going to be our strategy. And that's where like all the people, right? So from everyone on this call, you guys were marketing ops careers started in that time period. And in that time period, Marketo was for big kids and HubSpot was for people who wanted to do basic stuff. And that is true. Like up till 2014, absolutely true. In 14, they added Sales Hub. And the original version of the product was basically email tracking and sales meeting booking for sales reps. And that was like all it really did. But in order to really use HubSpot well, you had to really be connected into Salesforce. And then from 17 to 2021, they added their original Service Hub and they built this like SMB CRM product that was sort of akin to like a Zoho. And that was the case until 2021. In 2020-21, everything changed. So here's what happened. First thing is they added in custom objects native to HubSpot. So you can now add whatever custom objects for whatever data tables, for whatever you want, all into the platform. And you can configure all of those. You can use custom objects to trigger emails. You can merge custom object fields into all of your emails themselves. And all of your marketing automation infrastructure is now powered by all the custom object stuff and all the CRM stuff that they have as well. And then they added coded actions, which allow you to not just use standard HubSpot workflow actions like send email, create tasks, do whatever, but you can write custom code and do whatever you want in that custom code. So you can now have any action under the sun. So now you have like Tray.io integration capabilities or Workato type integration capabilities or automation engines. And they, for not as relevant to the CRM side, but hyper relevant to you guys, is coded email. So now the types of things that you used to be able to only do, and the original reason why you'd buy like Salesforce Marketing Cloud is you need a hyper complex custom coded email that's not just like merge in fields, but completely change the images and change the content and adapt everything that's in this email based on all of this database driven stuff. HubSpot has all of that. And so literally since 2021, HubSpot has gone from amazing for SMB, pretty good for mid-market, not on the table for enterprise, to like default option for SMB, best option for mid-market, viable option for enterprise. And that change is 18 months old.
Like, does HubSpot expect?
I mean, if you want a custom code, you need a developer, but like everything is easier in HubSpot than Marketo.
I mean, I guess I would agree. Like, we don't custom code pretty much anything in Marketo.
No, you don't have to custom code anything in HubSpot. You can, is what I'm saying. Like previously you couldn't. And that was the reason that you would
like doing a webhook in Marketo or doing velocity scripting.
Right. I guess I can see.
You don't need to custom code anything in HubSpot. I think we, at A8 specifically, like the level of complexity that we build for people is extremely high. The vast majority of HubSpot users are like here, I'll give you an example. So we, this year, took Uber Freight from like multiple Marketo and Pardot instances, consolidated everything down to one HubSpot instance and integrated it into their Salesforce environment. And there is one person who's managing all of their marketing automation infrastructure for Uber Freight on HubSpot. And they had a whole bunch of people doing it on Pardot and Marketo. And the reason is it's way easier for them to use. It's way faster and they can launch and configure and do all of their campaigns. And we don't have an ongoing service relationship with them. We're done. They aren't paying us for ongoing marketing ops.
I can absolutely see that for Pardot, which I think we can all be on the same page for. Like my first client when I went solo was on Pardot. It was someone who was like, I trust you, Lauren. You are smart, because I had never logged in before. And what I did my first week was I spent the entire first week over promising on what I would be able to implement, thinking like,
Pardot is like basically MailChimp. It's useless.
I was like, oh yeah, we can do that scoring, or like, yeah, I'll build you a life cycle. And then I was like, oh my God,
that's just not how Pardot works.
Cannot do all of this. I mean, the fact that like, still to this day, when I want to like run a dynamic list, that I have to wait 20 minutes for it to show up in my inbox, like makes me want to just pass out. Like it is so, so terrible. So I can definitely see like, some things that like our Pardot client deals with is like, oh my, like literally if you had one person working the same amount of time in Marketo, Pardot, and HubSpot, like I firmly believe that the Pardot user would get a quarter. I know this at least from Marketo, a quarter.
Oh yeah,
done, maybe less than what they could do in either of the other.
I 100% agree with you. I think the biggest driver of value from a HubSpot versus a Marketo. So historically, Marketo just had more extensibility and more functionality and more ability to go further than HubSpot did, and that was just like true.
What was the biggest thing from your point of view at the time that like Marketo could do that HubSpot was just like not great at yet?
I think it's a lot of the data table driven stuff and the ability to like have, and that was something where HubSpot was like, oh, we have a contact and you can merge in contact properties, but you're like, but I have this related data table and I have these other things I want to pull in and I want to extend sort of whether it's from an automation or from a email contextualization side, you want to be able to pull in information from other places. And historically HubSpot couldn't do that. And again, I think when HubSpot said, hey, we're going to be a legit CRM platform, they can do all of that. I think the other thing is for Marketo to be like useful, you really have to be wired into a core Salesforce instance as well. Like you can point and click one sync custom objects into HubSpot, and now you can use them in every workflow, everything under HubSpot you want to do. And like, it's wild. And you compare that to like data extensions in Marketing Cloud are insane. And then you have to map all that stuff back up from Marketo. And then you just get straight tables of data instead of actual records that you can use to trigger stuff. So like HubSpot's whole automation engine runs on every object, and anyone can set that up. And I think not only today do you have the same level of extensibility and customization in HubSpot as you have in something as a Marketo, but more importantly, you don't need to be a marketing ops Marketo or a HubSpot superstar to do that stuff. You can be a marketing manager and do all of the crazy complex things with way less of a MOPS hurdle. And the accessibility of that just goes incredibly down. And that's, I think, where that's why HubSpot is kicking ass against Salesforce and mid-market, but it's also why they've like decimated Marketo.
All right, here's what I'm going to say. not to be a Marketo apologist, but
I'm going to send you guys plastic Marketo apologists. I love that.
You can do
what you're saying.
Kind of thing.
I don't think there's anything. There is nothing you can do in HubSpot you cannot do in Marketo. I'm not saying it's a feature to feature thing.
Okay, great. So
you're just going to have a bad time.
No, I mean, like when you say one click the Salesforce connector, I mean, that's all you're doing. That's all we do in Marketo to bring in. Now, the reason that it gets a little bit weird, though, is like you don't really have easy access to that information. Like, sure, you can trigger off of it and manage it and store the data, but it's not like you ever really get a list of like all custom objects. Like you don't have a view of that in Marketo.
Yeah, you could just get a list of the people's custom objects. You can like pull it down from the API or something, but yeah, that is a little more complicated. But what I will say is what you were describing is for an e-commerce business. And I would think that Marketo themselves would say that they are not well suited for e-commerce.
Oh, I don't think HubSpot's well suited for e-commerce either. So I wouldn't latch on to that. HubSpot's entirely like focused on B2B. We can also
Marketo was also entirely focused on B2B. Like, and I think the Adobe thing, there was certainly a time, I've worked with B2C people using Marketo. I'm sure you have too, Lauren, but there was certainly a time when Marketo was pre-Vista, we will sell Marketo to anyone who will give us money for it and we will figure it out later. Post Adobe, like, I don't think they even will sell you Marketo if you are not B2B. They're like, no, please go evaluate Adobe Campaign. Marketo is not it for you. Like, that's not going to cut it. Which there's certainly some flashier things that you can do with something that is built for PLG or e-commerce or, something else. But for B2B, it sounds like HubSpot is catching up to Marketo.
Oh no, this is wild to me. I defend HubSpot.
Doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I defend HubSpot as like comparative to Salesforce these days all the time, and that's like more of a debate.
I understand the branding of this, like the Windows comparison. We've all felt that way, even like Marketo lovers for a very long time, right? That's like the UI hasn't really changed. We've been promised a new UI. And unfortunately, a lot of that change should have happened when it got acquired twice, right? Like when their business was focused that way.
It's a dead platform.
But I don't think no one needs developers to create anything in Marketo. I'm not a developer. Like I'm
talking about like you have that extensibility. I'm not saying you don't need to develop anything in HubSpot. HubSpot is more accessible and easier to use than Marketo. I don't think anyone disagrees with that statement. And the only defendable position on Marketo for a long time was like, you can do bigger, more complex enterprisey things on Marketo than you can do on HubSpot. And that's not true anymore. So if you have more accessibility, you have equitable functionality and feature set, and nothing new is coming out for Marketo.
But if we're going to like help you shine up your pitch, Connor, it has to be that
I don't even sell against Marketo like ever.
Good. You're a HubSpot.
No, but I sell against Salesforce every day.
Well, I think it's a different price point though, too, right? Like, I just think that's a different market. But if we're going to shine it up, I honestly think that like what you're saying about HubSpot sounds great. Like, it doesn't seem like there's really this like, bad thing. Obviously, the company is very invested in product improvements. But when you're saying these things about Marketo, like Marketo can't do this, this, and this, when you say that, I say, yes, I do.
Oh, no, I think Marketo can do all of those things. I think it's worse at all of those things. Nation.marketo.com, which has an Adobe logo in the top left. And is where they have their release information. Whatever.
So the biggest issues that I had with HubSpot, it seems like they're really moving away from, which were integrations was like a big one for the team that I was working with at the time, because it was like you said, the way that the database structure was set, like I'm going to get it wrong, but it was like some of the custom objects, like if we wanted to create a custom event, there was not an API endpoint for that.
Yeah, you couldn't do custom objects and some of those other things, and now you have custom objects and custom behavioral events.
Yeah, now you can do that. And then another thing they were like bummed about was scoring. I think like you could only increment it in incredibly strange ways. But sometimes I think like, Sydney and I had this conversation about scoring in general. Like, why are we still doing this sometimes? Like the scoring thing, when so many organizations are moving to collecting so much more data than outside the marketing automation and CRM platforms. How do you see that happening, like with your clients or with your opinion about HubSpot and the enterprise, like fitting into what really we're seeing is a shift towards the data warehouse as the system of record rather than like anything else anyone has ever had an opinion about where data should be stored.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the database stuff is definitely there. We do a lot of work with like Snowflake and HubSpot has sort of like a direct connection that's out of the box. And then we do a lot of other data warehousing solutions and like high touch and reverse ETL stuff. I think the reality is if even if your marketing automation solution is a spoke as opposed to the hub, you by pushing a lot of that in there, you can then use a lot of that data to orchestrate and automate all of the things that you do. I think, but the data warehouse thing, I think we see that across the segment all the time for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about previously on a segment too, like how marketers always are like, have all these ideas for the data, but the data collection is like one step behind. It's like, what if we could use this data to do this? And they're like, oh yeah, that's on the roadmap for a new custom object in 27. Not that the systems can't actually do it, but that the business processes are like,
yeah, it just takes too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Connor, thanks for your hot takes on HubSpot. We don't disagree with you on your HubSpot hot takes, but we absolutely disagree with you on your Marketo hot takes. But you know what? All is love in the marketing operations space. Sydney and I all the time say we come from an abundance mindset. There is enough work for everyone. There is enough platform for everyone. But now we want to get to know you a little bit because
we're in business and now we're going pretty.
We're out of business. Forget it.
We're done. We're done. So just tell us about you. You live in New York. What's going on? Who do you live with? All of it.
What? I live in New York. I have a fiance. I have a golden doodle. And those are the beings that occupy my home.
You have a gorgeous Monstera vine, dude. Is that real?
I do. Yeah, this is a real Monstera.
Woo!
Oh, you can't see.
Beautiful.
I also have, I wonder if I can do that. This is a very dangerous move. We're going to try it because it's slim. We've got the
look at it. It's like
turn enough.
It's like get me out of here.
This is
that natural light.
Got some Legos.
Look at your.
Is that one of those?
2018. Yeah.
Are you a Lego? Are you a Lego PV?
Ooh.
Did you get
Lego
bit?
PV? No, I didn't get bit. The camera is like insanely hot. I like tried to grab it and turn it so spicy. What is a Lego PV?
Oh,
a PV stands for pervert.
I'm gonna go with no without knowing.
I am. You should know.
Okay, then maybe I have a lot of Legos.
You're a Lego.
It just means you really like Legos.
Oh, I love Legos. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I love Legos. I'm a big fan of Legos. I've got a lot of them. I'm looking up because there's one.
Are you a Star Wars PV too?
Yes.
Yes. The only reason I knew
a segment that's like, what kind of PV are you?
What kind of PV are you?
Oh, speaking of which, Connor, how many domains do you own?
Oh my God. I don't even know. So many.
Domain PV.
The way he said it makes me think he's like gonna be top.
I'm like checking.
50s?
Who has had the most so far? Who had
like
20?
50s. That's just in Google domains. I have like an old GoDaddy account. Here's the thing. I have never once sold a domain. Not one time. Not one time. I have no, like, I'm not like a collector.
It's like, oh, no, you're not. You're not sitting at them. I was gonna say, are you like an investor or domain investor? No. These are just
I'm
like
the
series of bad
ideas.
ideas.
I just buy it. Yeah. So there's no strategy.
Cheap. That's the problem.
I'm like, it's $10 here. Actually, now that I'm like saying this and thinking about this, and I'm realizing like I'm not paying $14.99 a month for whatever. I'm paying like hundreds of dollars a month for fucking
hundreds. You own domains, and they're all $14.99 a month.
I have some of the we've been .ai domains we've been loading up on. We're buying a lot of those.
So you are collecting them. I mean, I feel like, is this like the Beanie Babies craze of the 90s?
I was going to say, is this like an NFT, basically?
Yeah. No, I think that like I not that like a brand name .ai. We're doing a bunch of stuff with AI stuff. And so we're doing I think that all of ops is just going to become very AI driven. So we're doing like rolling AI stuff into everything that we're doing.
Totally. And so you
can't do that if you don't own all the domains.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's
my favorite thing about business planning is that the first thing you do is buy the domain. It is absolutely like step one.
I bought happily.com. I think we spent $5,000 on that domain, but that's like a real business. It has a real domain. That's the software company I have. So I have Aptitude, our services business, and then Happily builds HubSpot apps. So we're building like ISV type applications on top. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's worth.
Okay, one more question about your background. So the Star Wars thing, I only know what that is because I'm a Disney PV and have been on the Star Wars rides, and that thing is very large.
I did the Star Wars hotel, like they're
shutting it down
last year. It was incredible. I know. I'm not surprised. There's no way it makes money. It was awesome. I think they're turning it into like a cruise experience. I think that which makes more sense. I think it was like a prototype, and then they're like putting it into like a cruise type of thing.
Okay. Well, it makes me feel
it was awesome.
It was a prototype, but
I mean, it was. I'm not surprised.
If it was making money, they would have kept it.
I think
it's losing money hand over.
Listen, like Disney PVs love Disney, and it did not get great reviews for the money. Like it was like for how much money you get.
Yeah, it's very expensive. It was awesome. That was very expensive.
You know what? Good for you.
That was a good time.
We spent a lot of money on Disney. We tried to get into Star Wars. I think it's one of those things, and I could be wrong, that like if you weren't really into it as a kid, it's like hard to like jump into. But anyway. All right, Sydney, what's next?
All right, well, okay.
All right, moving on.
We're going to do something you want, something you need, something to wear, and something to read. In this segment, is pretty self-explanatory, but you are just going to tell us something you want. Cannot be a need, has to be a want. Something you need, something you to wear, which can be something you're wearing, something you want to wear, something you want to buy to wear, and something you are reading or want to read or have read.
Something I want. I really, really, really want a ski house in Utah, and it drives like a lot of my. That's like my aspirational want. And that's not like I want this right now type of thing. I think I could go for like a sandwich right now. It's lunchtime, but that's my like my want is like my ideal situation would be to like be in New York for fall and spring, and then be in Park City, Utah for winter, and then like hot summer. That's like my want.
Hot summer as in hot, steamy New York summer, or
hot, steamy, gross New York summer.
Florida?
Like I'm trying to get out of here because summer in New York is brutal, and I can't afford a house in the Hamptons. So
bummer. Same.
Bummer. Same.
Yeah. More podcast ads.
Sweating and
ads. I think before we started recording is when you and I were talking about that you went to Utah for the first 4 months of the pandemic. And you were just vibing and skiing. It
was amazing. It was so good. Now I'm like, I just want to go back and do that. It was incredible.
Nice. I want to hear more privileged pandy stories. I just don't think that this is the
Andy
privileged.
You have so many little words. Are you like a privileged PV?
No. Nobody wants to be. That might be my husband. Privileged PV.
Privileged PV might be for sure.
Might be my husband. No, but like our privileged pandy story is that we took the kids and lived in Florida for 6 weeks so that I could homeschool them at Epcot during the winter.
That's amazing.
Privileged pandy.
I love that.
I was just here in New York schlepping it out with my 9-month-old baby. It was
at some point
horrifying, but I did get my rent stabilized apartment during that time.
You crushed. No, Sydney told me the whole story. Sydney's winning New York. Like rent stabilized apartment, a big rent stabilized apartment, large enough for
privileged
a family.
PV.
Privileged PV. That's me. You know, I paid my dues with a year of pandemic suffering.
Yeah, now you're locked in. They can't remove you.
3rd floor walk up.
Incredible.
Great.
All right, something you need.
Air? Like what is need? Like I don't understand this question. It's confusing to me.
In your life, you have no needs because you're a privileged PV.
I would say all of my base needs.
If I needed something, I would get it from Amazon.
Yeah, I would get it. Yeah. I think that's my privileged PV for sure. Yeah. I would put that in there. If I need it, I would just say I just say Jeffrey, and then I tap it, and then it arrives. And I'm like, oh, my needs have been met.
I don't have any needs because HubSpot does it for me.
Because HubSpot, I used to, but in the past 18 months.
HubSpot's really up-leveled, and now the AI is sitting HubSpot to make my sandwiches, and I have no
before I even know I needed it.
Yeah, it just shows up.
Sandwiches HubSpot.ai because Connor did.
What are the other need answers? Like what's a
say they time off.
That's a
like a haircut.
Car.
A haircut.
Those are all wants. None of these people know what needs are. All their needs are met. They're spending time chatting on podcasts. They're fine.
Say what they want. I want a day off.
That's a want.
That's what I said. No.
We all sit behind a computer and like chill and clock off and go drink a non-alcoholic beverage. Yeah, no need. All of my needs are where I really need a rain jacket.
Oh, I love that. That is not the first time someone has said that.
I was going to say someone else has said rain jacket.
I do. But my fiance bought one from Rains. Have you seen the Rains ones? They're really cute. They're mostly for women. They're like in really poppy colors. They're like very cute rain jackets. And like, I don't want the poppy cute color rain jacket, but I would like a rain jacket, and I don't have one.
I don't know if does UpWest sell menswear. I got my rain jacket specifically to visit New York, and I love it.
UpWest has a store.
Oh, these look great. Yards. Okay. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I'll check this out. You might have just solved.
Yeah. You know what? They actually might have a brick and mortar in Williamsburg. I know they have one at Hudson Yards, but I want to say they have one in Williamsburg too. Williamsburg's
like the new Hudson. We have a Chanel and an Hermes. It's ridiculous.
Privilege.
They better
didn't want to
run Royal Trains.
I know. This looks really cute though. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
UpWest, call us. Go to UpWest for
upwest.com.
PFB 2023 and you will get 0% off your purchase. But UpWest, call me.
And a massive error that your purchase
404.
You did. Yeah.
You know what? Here's what happened. Laura came to me and said, I need to buy a rain jacket. Do you have a recommendation? And I said, yes, I have really been wanting to buy this rain jacket and I have not. So here it is. And it was UpWest and she bought it. And then I tried it on when she came to New York and I loved it. So I also bought it. And now here we are influencing you. And we're going to have our little jacket squad of UpWest.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait.
All right. Something to read.
Slack messages.
You and Sydney are on the same wavelength.
I read the Morning Brew. Actually, I can't. I'll make an endorsement. There is a. This is from Ryan. This is from Ryan Gunn, I think. Also, he's the one who recommended it to me. I don't even remember the name of this. It is an AI morning superpower daily. Is my recommendation. It is from. I don't know who makes it.
It's not by chance a company called Superpowered, huh?
It's not. No. It's not. That's very good though. It's like, wow, you clearly don't know newsletters work. No, it's by Beehive.
Oh wait,
no, that's the newsletter platform. It's a completely different thing. I don't know who makes it. You can sign up for it. It is Superpower Daily, and it is great. It's like an AI newsletter. They talk about all the cool new AI projects, demos. They aggregate all of it. It makes you feel very informed about all the things happening on the AI frontier. Just today, we got really excited. There's a new product called Guide with 2 Ds. Have you guys seen Tango for like tutorial building? Super cool. Just check that out too. Basically, Guide is an AI powered thing where it runs as a Chrome extension on top of whatever you're doing. You go and do a click path of like how to do stuff. So you could make like hey, here's how you're going to do. You're going to like build this list, clone this campaign, like do whatever you're going to do. And it will take that guide. It will add voiceover and narration to it, and it'll like create like a video edited version of what you just did. That's like a video guide for how to do the like user story that you just did. It's super cool. And so awesome. We found out about that from Superpower Daily, which you should. I have no referral link. I'm sure they give me
5% off of nothing.
Yeah, 5% off of nothing. You can sign up, but it's super cool and AI stuff is awesome. So you can sound really informed when you talk to.
Have 2 or 3 people you would love to work with again, because really that's the basis of how Sydney and I started collecting people to work with us. Was like, wouldn't it be great if we got this person? And so, just in your life, like, who would be on your wish list of hopefully we get to work together again, or for the first time? We sometimes we leave.
Or for the first time? Oh, I have a long list of first times. I'm a founder person. I'm constantly recruiting. I'm in people's LinkedIn DMs every day being like, yo. So that list is long.
I have 50 domains. Pick your favorite and we will go for it.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone sent me a screenshot of a DM that looks very similar to that. It would not surprise me at all. I had someone recently, this is somebody I would love to work with. Maybe he'll hear this episode. I won't leak his name, but he presented on our Voice of the Customer program. He's like a RevOps lead at a client of ours. And he like messaged me on LinkedIn and was like, hey, like, would you guys ever like consider somebody like me or whatever? And I was just like, yeah, yeah, that's my whole answer. I have no follow-up. No, I think my answer would be, I have a really good buddy who I worked with a really long time ago. He started a telehealth company. He sold it last year. He was actually just in New York last night. We went to the Comedy Cellar and Mike Birbiglia showed up, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was awesome. So I'm a little bit hungover today, which is why I'm hanging out with you guys longer than I should, because I have maybe been a little bit aggressive on my calendar. But he's awesome, and I would love to work with him again. And he's a really, really fun person. And we only ever worked together like as employees of the same startup. And so it'd be awesome to do something actually together. It would be super cool. And I would put the other one, which is a old business partner of mine. And we had a third partner, and the whole mishmash didn't work out, but he was awesome. His name's Brian. And I would love to work with him again, not in our thruple, and instead just as a two people working together situation. Those are my
All right. We weren't going to have to mark it not safe for work, but now we do.
I think so the word thruple is what kicks you over.
It wasn't pervert.
You know what? I'm going to go buy. I'm not even joking right now. I don't know if there is a .pv domain, but I'm going to go buy .pv this moment.
Lauren, you better log into Hover right now.
Why didn't I think of this? I need every PV term we ever said.
It is. It is a domain. It is a domain extension. Oh. You can buy it. It's a TLD. And
it's not for like a country or anything. No.
I've wanted to share my screen a lot of times, but I'm going to do it with you guys right now. And I want you to narrate this homepage of this website, because it is perhaps the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Search for your new .pv domain on porkbun.
Porkbun.com. Oink. Top result for .pv domain. Search porkbun.com.
Pork PV.
Well, Connor, I think that you are going to get the distinct privilege of being the second guest in Emmy Collective Pretty Funny Business history to have a domain name redirected to your episode of the podcast.
Amazing.
Our first domain was chicksanddickssportinggoods.com, which redirects to our episode featuring Mike Rizzo. And now, whatever .pv domain Lauren is able to buy, hopefully privilege.pv.
Privilege.pv is amazing.
We'll be redirecting to your episode.
Love it.
Good time.
Money. I just want like a rough estimate. How much money in a year? Let's say how much money in 2022 did you spend on domain subscriptions and AI subscriptions?
Not enough. Obviously, there's always more.
Well, we bought Happily in 2022 for $5,000, so that really bumps up the number. Let's subtract that out. Yeah, let's subtract that one out. I don't know, probably like somewhere between like probably 1 and 3K would be my guess. Across like a bunch of domains for dopamine.pv. Yo, .pv domains, .1769.
Porkbun.pv.
I can't believe this is porkbun.com. I actually like don't trust it at all, but you can buy it and it's only $18 and
give them your credit card information. Okay, Connor, we have gone so over. We have one final segment, which is called PFB in the Streets. I'm going to give you some topics / words that you have not seen or heard these before. This is the only segment we do not prep anyone for, and you have one that
I want to give him.
Okay, you go first.
Now that I know that
just for anyone who wasn't here, before the show started, Lauren's like, "You're doing the in the streets, right?" And Sydney was like, "Oh God, me? Okay, I'll like get this done." Now Lauren's like, "No, I actually want to take it over now."
Classic. Go for it, Lauren.
Let it rip.
Barbie.
Okay,
well, we're gonna cut that, Tim.
We can cut that. I don't know.
Like in New York, Sydney.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
We haven't.
It is like it is massively influencing fashion. It's insane. Like the streets of New York are full of women in bright hot pink. Every female friend I have, all of them, and my fiance, all have hot pink nails right now. All 100% of them. Boom! I was just about to ask you. Sydney is showing her hot pink nails. All of them. It's wild. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit more like lame in Cleveland, Ohio. I haven't got.
That's like in the Barbie. That's in the Barbie palette.
Barbie. Yeah, maybe it's not Barbie.
Yeah. My fiance ordered on Amazon, and I was like, "What is this that you just bought?" And she bought a like 28 felt pens. And I was like, "What did you buy these for? Like, you don't do art stuff. Like, why did you buy these?" And she's like, "I thought that the like bright color Barbie palette ones would look really cute in this Hello Kitty mug on my desk." And she scooped all of the like highlighter color ones out of the box, threw away all of the bland felt markers. It's like, these are of no use to me. And then put them in the Hello Kitty mug on the desk. She's like, "See, it's great."
Yeah, she's right. Again, I think having a man on our podcast has proven that we would really like to be friends with his
Partner.
Yeah, she's cool. She's great. She's wonderful.
Bring her in.
Bring her in. We'll do the next one with her.
We'll be friends.
Okay, I have this video of like 50 people walking down the street at the same time. She's like, these people are obviously going to the Barbie movie. Like they're all in bright pink.
Yes, but I live in Columbia University's campus, so it was absolutely a group of like kids here for freshman orientation, and then they all went to see Barbie together. It was very adorable, very adorable. Okay, a few more. Procurement.
Sydney's feeding me. My aforementioned partner in a past life like led procurement from some large organization, and so the process by which we have to make not a real thing that she did. This is like a past life because it manifests her like deep soul level need for procurement.
It was a past life.
It's a past life, and in all things. So like we have an amazing. Sydney and I were bonding because we have rent stabilized apartments in New York, which is like a big deal. Very hard to come by. Good get. And we have one. It's amazing. And the only reason we have it is because I've seen like 7 apartment buildings in New York City, because when we were like looking for an apartment, she's like, we have to see all of them. And we're venue hunting right now. And I've seen every wedding venue in New York, all of them. Seen all of them. We have a spreadsheet. We have multiple spreadsheets. They have so many columns. They all have rankings of different criteria.
Sydney's going to want this person's phone number immediately.
Yeah, she's wonderful. I benefit. Here's the thing. I complain about this, but I benefit so tremendously from the process. Like I have the best thing at the end every time.
You guys need an Airtable. We didn't bring it up, but we love Airtable.
Don't think that we have an Airtable. We have an Airtable for all these things. You guys think I'm joking, and I'm like, wait.
Spreadsheet, but I meant Airtable.
I believe you. You think
the wedding planner hates us.
Wait, you still bothered to hire a wedding planner? Seems like that was maybe.
That one
I could maybe do that.
This spreadsheet.
Chat GPT and your procurement fiance have got this on lock.
Guys, this spreadsheet, it has enough tabs that you have to have like a trackpad to use it so you can scroll through the tabs.
How many custom objects does your wedding planning require?
It would require a lot. That's actually a great point. I don't have a HubSpot instance for my wedding planning, but like if I was driving it, we probably would.
There's still time.
Okay. Airtable, call us.
Last one. Actually, no, I'm going to do 2 more. Okay. 2 more and then we'll wrap it up. Inbound.
Giant conference, November, my Super Bowl. It's going to be ridiculous. I have every week that goes by, more things get added into this calendar, but it'll be outrageous. I'm speaking to some stuff. Other people on our team are speaking. Gun's going to talk about the Uber Freight project we did with the folks from Uber Freight. It's going to be, we're doing a happy hour. There's like, for Happily, we're bringing in Happy's branding is all like ice cream truck stuff. So we have an ice cream truck that's all branded with Happily. We have branded ice creams for all of our apps. Like we're going to pull up in front of the venue and hand them out. The one-word reaction is expensive. It'll be good. We're excited about it.
That's very exciting. We are planning, we're going to Mopsapalooza, and I
will also be speaking at Mopsapalooza and Disney PV.
See you there.
I'm going to Disneyland the weekend before.
Yeah. All right. I can't wait. We're going to go. Wait, do they have Star Wars Land yet? I think so.
They do. They have Star Wars Land.
There.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, I would be remiss if I did not say pizza.
Joe's Pizza.
You really converted then, huh? Because you're from Chicago, right?
Oh yeah. Chicago pizza is amazing, but it's not really pizza. It's like a whole different
pizza.
Food.
Yeah,
it's a completely different thing.
It's like closer to lasagna.
It's close. It's honestly, lasagna is a really good comparison. Yeah, it's amazing. It's very delicious.
It's delicious, but it's not pizza.
It's not pizza.
Joe's.
Yeah.
Joe's is good.
Joe's
good.
Joe's is great.
Good pick.
Joe's is a good one.
All right. Well, Connor, thank you very much.
You don't want to give me a Marketo one? A Marketo PFB in the streets?
I think we heard your hot take.
Windows 90.
Marketo. Okay. I think we got that one on lock. Thank you for coming and fighting with us. We really enjoyed it. It's great to get to know you.
It is thrilling. It is very thrilling for us.
Really. We live in a little bit of a purple bubble sometimes, so it's nice.
I'm in the orange bubble, so it's nice to get out and,
It's nice to get out. See what's out there. Good luck out there, little podcast.